Hey guys, I thought I would just make a little update video on my condition. So in the previous video I said I had PPPD, which is still true, but I recently saw a physiotherapist who also diagnosed vestibular migraines. The treatment for vestibular migraine is quite similar to PPPD when it comes to the neuroplasticity side of things. But for me, because it's been so long, my physiotherapist said it's kind of like a festering wound and it keeps getting triggered and triggered and triggered and it doesn't have a rest. So for that reason, I have gone on nortriptyline, which is it's a migraine preventative. And I know in the last video I said I wanted to do it naturally, but I think I do need the help from medication right now, especially as I now seem to have vestibular migraine. If I had just had PPPD, I think I probably could have done it without the medication, but because there's now an actual cause for all this, the underlying original cause, I think the migraine preventative might be a good idea. I've been taking it for just over 2 weeks now. For the first 2 weeks I took 5 milligrams, which is like half the smallest dose. That was, I saw my doctor and he said take 5 milligrams for 2 weeks and then go up to 10 milligrams. So I've just gone up to 10 like 3 days ago. I was so scared of taking medication because of the side effects, and I haven't noticed any. I think, for the first week I was a little bit drowsy when I first took it, but then after half an hour it kind of subsided and it was really mild anyway. I haven't had any dry mouth or anything really. I feel pretty good, so that's cool. Overall, over the last 2 weeks I have felt better, and I don't know if that's a medication. It could definitely be, but usually they say it takes like 4 to 6 weeks to start properly working, so I don't really know for sure. And that's not to say that I feel like perfect without symptoms, because that's not true at all. I still very much have symptoms, but overall I think the intensity has come down. So it definitely could be the medication, but it could also be the fact that I'm on the migraine diet again. I did start it last year, but I didn't really see any difference, and I think the reason for that was that I was also eating things that were high in histamine and glutamate as well. I will put a picture up here right now of all the vestibular migraine triggers. This is from the Dizzy Cook's website, and her website is fabulous. So yeah, just take a screenshot of that if you have vestibular migraine and you can avoid all those things too. I'm just editing this video and I just noticed that this list of foods is just the main migraine triggers and it doesn't include foods high in histamine or glutamate. Some foods on here are high in glutamate, but there are more, so be sure to Google foods that are high in these things if you notice you have histamine issues or anything like that. I never put 2 and 2 together that was an issue for me. For example, strawberries are naturally high in histamine, and after I had a bunch of strawberries once, I felt horrific and I never realised it was because of the strawberries. So yeah, just double check every single food, cut them all out, and then gradually introduce them again, so you can definitely see which one is a trigger. Obviously this is just temporary while your brain kind of resets itself. So I'm also taking supplements which help with vestibular migraine. One of them is magnesium. I take 400 milligrams a day, and then I also take CoQ10, 200 milligrams, and I take 400 milligrams of vitamin B2. So those are like the classic migraine supplements, and I think it's definitely made a difference. I mean, with my overall energy level, I haven't really felt fatigued since I started taking them, and I know those things can all help with chronic fatigue syndrome as well, so who knows. I'm just doing everything I possibly can right now. So alongside my physiotherapist that diagnosed me with vestibular migraine and the doctor who prescribed the medication, I'm also seeing a new woman. She's a vestibular therapist, a strength coach and audiologist. So she is very highly trained in neuroplasticity, and I think that's what I needed. I really needed like a one-on-one coach to help get me through this, because I have so many questions and I really just want to understand exactly what my brain is doing, and I think the only way for me to do that is to get some one-on-one advice. And I've only had one session with her, but I already feel way more hopeful. She's given me so many tools already, and I'm actually going to link her YouTube channel in the description below because she has some wonderful tools. One of them is somatic tracking. So that is when you kind of feel your symptoms, and you can do it laying down or sitting or however you want, and you feel your symptoms and you kind of train your brain to know that they're safe. It's not about getting rid of your symptoms or anything like that. You just sit there and feel them and don't react. You just kind of watch them like you're watching a play or something. And the more you teach your brain that those sensations are safe, the less your brain will perceive them as a threat, and so it will lower the whole intensity of them. And it should also lower the anxiety around it as well, because your brain will learn that it doesn't need to be anxious when it's dizzy. Also, your brain will learn that it doesn't need to be dizzy when you're calm, because being dizzy when you're calm is not normal. So your brain will learn that it's not meant to be dizzy at all. So that's a really great one for me. I've already seen improvements doing that. It's slight improvements, but definitely improvements. And another video of hers is deep breathing, and that has been really beneficial, and she recommends to do it as soon as you feel like your symptoms have been triggered. So that's what I've been doing, and I feel the intensity come down pretty quickly. Because before I felt so hopeless, like I had nothing to do. The symptoms were just controlling me, and every time they went out of control, I felt like I had no control over them. I just felt like I couldn't do anything to lower the intensity, and actually it's not true. Doing that breathing has really helped, and she says to do it straight away as soon as you notice your symptoms have been triggered, because the more you do it straight away, you're training your brain that you're calm even when you're dizzy. So that is just Neuroplasticity 101 pretty much. And if you want more information on neuroplasticity, I really recommend getting Rock Steady by Joey Remini. It's a book, and it basically gives you an in-depth view on all of the vestibular disorders and how to cure it, and self-compassion, and all the neuroplasticity tools you need pretty much. And it's like the Bible of neuroplasticity, so highly recommend that. I'm going to give you an example of neuroplasticity that I used today. So yesterday I went to a fireworks show with my family, and it was amazing. I had a lot of fun, but I was quite nervous to go for natural reasons. But actually yesterday I was feeling really, really good. And I only noticed the symptoms when I was walking to the fireworks, because we had to walk quite a way, so I knew that I was going to be triggered. Well, I hoped I wouldn't be, but I was, and it was okay. This morning when I woke up, I felt fine, but as the morning progressed, I felt way more dizzy. And in my head, I was like, okay, I probably overdid it a bit yesterday. But that's okay, it's a good challenge, and your brain will just work it out. But today I felt myself getting a bit anxious about it, because I hadn't been like dizzy in a while. I have the rocking and swaying sensation, but the dizziness isn't always there, and yesterday it wasn't. I felt so clear-headed, it was amazing. But today I felt pretty crappy again. So instead of panicking, which is what my usual go-to would be, I did the deep breathing. That was the first thing I did, and I did it like 10 or 15 times. 2 counts in and 6 counts out. It's really long exhale, and that really helped calm me down, and it also brought the intensity of it down. The next thing I did was the somatic tracking, and I'll link all this in the description. Those 2 things really helped bring the intensity of the anxiety down and the intensity of the symptoms. Now, another symptom I had, which I do get on and off, but I hadn't had it in a while, and today it was making me really anxious, was the head pressure. So today it literally felt like someone was pushing my brain down. It felt like my brain was swelling, and I just had to sit there and remind myself that my brain isn't swelling. I would have a lot more symptoms if that was the case. So what I did to combat that was a self-massage, and of course I'm going to link it in the description. It was like a jaw massage and a scalp massage, and also around the ears and everything. It was really relaxing. It halved the intensity of the head pressure, and I love it because it actually feels like you're doing something about it. You're not just sitting there helpless, just complaining and crying, which is how I spent most of my days last year, even earlier this year. So yeah, that's an example of neuroplasticity working for me, and I'm so excited to be able to say that, because I never thought it would. Honestly, I've been so scared of everything that I didn't even think it was possible to heal anymore. But now that I've had appointments with this new woman, learning more about neuroplasticity, I just feel a lot more hopeful. And I hope that those videos help you as well. They've definitely helped me so far, and I'm going to keep going as much as I can. And, she says that her clients all have gotten better. They've all improved. So if they can get better, we can get better, because it's literally the same illness, you know? It's not different from one person to the other. It's the same thing going on, so we can all heal. If you need more proof of people's ability to heal, you can always check out those who have. So we have Vestibular Warrior, The Dizzy Cook, and we have Balance Your Life Now. Those are 3 women who I really look up to. They're amazing. Firstly, The Dizzy Cook is fabulous with recipes and migraine-friendly food and all that. Vestibular Warrior, Emily, she's great. She is very much about the holistic process of healing, and I love that as well. And lastly, Balance Your Life Now is all about neuroplasticity, and she has videos on how to heal with neuroplasticity, and she gives you examples, and she has a body scan audio that you can use. So there are so many things out there that can help us, and I think it's just trusting those things, because this whole year I've kind of not wanted to help myself, which sounds so weird. I mean, of course I want to help myself, but I've also been scared to help myself. Maybe I'm just scared of feeling the symptoms and scared of healing. It's so random, you know. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but sometimes I'm like, it's really overwhelming to actually feel like you're going to heal. I mean, what am I going to do with my life once I'm better? It's very weird. But anyway, I thought I would just make an update of my life right now. I'm definitely feeling overall better. So if you are terrified of medication, you know, I was too. I totally get it. And, you know, it doesn't have to be used. Definitely doesn't. Neuroplasticity is amazing. But if you feel like you need that extra support, I think maybe it's just worth having a go. You know, what's the worst that can happen? You know, you get some crappy side effects and you just stop it. It'll be fine. And there are like 12 different medications that you can try. So if one doesn't work, it doesn't mean that the others won't work. One of my dizzy friends, she has tried like 6 different medications, and this one is finally helping her. So it can take a while, you know, it's just trial and error. I will definitely update you on the medication journey on that side of things, but my main focus right now is going to be healing with neuroplasticity. Guys, me again. I'm just editing and I realized I forgot to say one very important thing. In terms of the medication, you have to understand that the medication isn't going to be the cure. It's just kind of like a plaster for your brain, so it stops getting triggered constantly, and so you can actually respond to treatment. And the treatment is, you know, the VRT, the neuroplasticity, going out for walks every day, putting yourself in those situations that trigger your symptoms, but doing it in a very calm and controlled way. If you're anxious doing the VRT, it's definitely not going to work. No, don't just rely on the medication to heal you, because that's definitely not what's going to happen. The medication isn't going to be able to change your neurons, you know, you're the one who can do that. So yeah, bear that in mind. It is still very much a self-healing journey. So I hope this was helpful. I think I've given you some good tools to try out. They're all in the description. They've really helped me, and it just shows you that you can do something about it. You know, you don't have to sit there and just suffer. There are things you can do to help right now. During the somatic tracking video, your brain will literally be using neurons to create new neural pathways right then and there. It's not like a gradual thing where, you know, your neurons will start working next week. No, it's literally doing it now. So if that isn't empowering, I don't know what is. I know I didn't really go into my symptoms in this video, but they're all in the other video if you want to go and check that out. I think my main issue is still PPPD, so all of those symptoms are still happening, but I think the overall intensity is less now. Before I go, I will just say one thing, that after that video I made before, for 2 months straight, I felt like utter shit again. I'm just going to let you know now. It's not a linear process whatsoever. I wish it was, because that'll be way easier. But I felt so awful. I think it was the worst I felt in this whole journey. And I was so scared that I would never get better again, because it was 2 months straight that I didn't have a better day. Like usually I have a crappy day and then the next day will be better. But for that 2 months, it was just continuous, and I was so scared that I would never feel better again. So my advice to you is to just revel in the moment. Just be so grateful that you feel however you feel today. Be grateful for it. Even if you feel like shit, it could feel worse. So just be grateful for however you feel, because I always kick myself for not being more grateful when I felt better, you know. And during that 2 months, I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to complain again about how I feel. So I've just been praising the universe for how good I feel today. Despite feeling dizzy, I'm still so grateful to not be where I was 2 months ago. So with that, I will leave you to it. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and I will see you next time. Bye.